Hello, everyone. Happy Mother's Day to any mothers that are watching. I am Lisa J. Stocks.
I'm Prez, the investor.
And today we have a very special guest. So brace yourself. I'm about to bring him up. And I'm bringing him in with a little intro music. So get ready.
The champ is here! The champ is here!
This is not financial advice. I just want you about your oven, Miss Baby, because it's about to get hot in the kitchen. Now, what's going on, everybody? If you don't already know me, I'm Kenan Grace. I make YouTube content about finance, stock options, stocks, and crypto. And we're here to have a great conversation with you about financial literacy. And I know there are many of you who need to start your journey today. So I want to encourage you to use any links in the description so that you can either start. You don't need $1 million to start. They had us thinking that in the past. That's not true. You don't need $500,000 to start. My very first investment was about a $5 to $50 investment. And I started this, and I'm talking about 2016, where we could finally get a fractional share. And I had seen people go broke. I'm talking about Allen Iverson, relatively broke, right? He should be a billionaire by now. I've seen people like Mike Tyson go relatively broke. He should be a billionaire by now, but they've been blowing through their money because they didn't know how to invest it. Why? Because oftentimes, especially in certain communities, you think that you got to be a crazy high earner to learn how to invest. And people won't even start until they hit the lottery, until they get to the NBA, until they become a famous basketball player or boxer. No, you need to start today so that you can use the best resource that you have, AKA your time. Your time is the main thing that you're running out of because you only getting closer and closer to the casket. You might as well get closer and closer to being rich on your way there. Lisa, Prez, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for taking the time out to be here. Now, let me first say, I really appreciate it. And I appreciate you, whether you were on YouTube or just being a part of your Discord, just being able to learn from you. You have been a mentor to me and really elevated my mindset and where I have been able to get my financial outlook for myself and my family to a totally different place because you brung us along on this journey and did not leave us behind, whether it's within your YouTube channel or the Discord. You have tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people that you're not leaving the knowledge. You're not keeping all the knowledge. You're making sure that we have it and we're here with you, Prez. So Prez, can you anything you want to say before we get started with back to some discussion?
I like to personally thank Kenan for everything he's taught me throughout the years. And without Kenan, I wouldn't be where I am today. He's one of the main motivating factors of me starting my own financial journey and bringing my audience along on my journey as well, the same way I watched him on his journey. And yeah, that's my big little brother, y'all.
Mm-hmm. Prez always said that, and Larry Jones said that the other day. You can learn from someone. It doesn't matter what age they are. We can look to our youth to really help us, and that's what we are both doing with looking up to Kenan, even though he is much younger than us. He has taught us a lot. So, what are we going to get into with our discussion next, Prez?
Today, I want to briefly discuss Gen Z falling deeper into debt and why you guys should be investing now in case you haven't started already, because it's very important. Instead of bringing on all of this extra debt, you should be taking some of those funds and allocating them to investing and using a high yield savings account and learning how financial literacy works.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a lot more than Gen Z. So Gen Z is our people born in the late 90s. But it's really everyone is just falling into so much consumer debt, and the housing market, everything is really hindering people from being able to, get themselves on track. It's so much harder now today.
So I go live with Larry, Josh, and Mo a lot, right? Chris saying we've been live with Chris. And one thing that we always get into is how the people be like, yo, you don't cut off each other, right? Don't block each other. Don't let the person finish their idea. So I'm sitting right here. I'm like, I got so much to say about consumer debt. I got so much to say about Gen Z being in debt, but I want to let y'all get what y'all got to say off. But I tell you this, family, oh my goodness, debt is one of the worst things that you could have. But there's two forms of debt, right? There's consumer debt, and then there's the other one. I can't necessarily remember the name. Maybe somebody in the chat could give me a blessing and help me to remember what it is. But it's more so of the investment kind of a debt. Like it could be, for example, real estate kind of debt. It could be a business loan, something that actually is helping you to generate more revenue versus a credit card, which the interest rates on those things is like 29, 30%. There was someone talking to me the other day and they were like, Kenan, I want to get a personal loan and consolidate all of my debt together. And the interest rate on that is going to be 32%. And I'm like, whoa, 32%? You're going to consolidate all your debt at the maximum interest rate you could possibly have? That's hustling backwards. We can't hustle backwards no more. You got to think about it just like this. Any debt that you have, and hold up, where my notepad at? I don't got my notepad, but I got another book. Right? Let me tell you, if your debt is higher than 10%, like I'm talking about, you got credit cards and they have 15, 16, 20%, 30%. You got to pay that off before you invest, in my personal opinion, right? Because you're going to have a hard time beating that on the market when you already are struggling with your debt. If you got any debts higher than 10%, put them on a list. The reason I'm hitting you with the notepads is because you probably don't have them on the list. You probably just know that your Citibank card, that Sears card you had from 20 years ago, you know all of those things, all this debt on them. Okay, put them in a list, put them in a Google Doc, put them in a Google Sheet, put them in an Excel sheet and say, okay, this is how much it is now. This is what the interest rate is. This is the next one. This is what the interest rate is. And then when you see all of the ones that are under 10%, maybe you get to those a little bit later. Keep your minimum payment. But those ones that is higher than 10%, family, you got to get that monkey off of your back. Think about investing kind of like a marathon, and you're on your way to the finish line, but you got something real heavy on your back, and it's not your book bag that's holding your mic. It's actually the weight of the debt holding you back from who you can be. I was asking everybody this on Twitter, and I was like, yo, where would you live if money wasn't an object, if money wasn't a constraint? And everybody in the chat, if you could think of where you would live if money wasn't a constraint, let me know. Let me know. Where would you live? And the reason I'm asking you this is because oftentimes, if you had your debt paid off, right, including even your mortgage, let's say, but your debt was paid off, those student loans, they was paid off, and then you've been investing for years, then you could say, yo, wow, I actually could afford to live where I wanted to live. I could afford to go and live in Hawaii. I could afford to go and live down south or up north or wherever you wanted to live, because you would have some of these things that are holding you back, pushing you in the right direction. You like, before I had to pay, let's call it $1,000 extra towards this debt. Now I got $1,000 that I could invest extra because I don't got that debt on me no more. So then we got to make sure that we doing just way more than the bare minimum, because you deserve more than the bare minimum.
Amen.
Now, Lisa, Prez, tell me something about Gen Z that I don't already know.
Something about Gen Z that you don't already know?
Or maybe somebody else don't already know.
That's a tough. Well, Gen Z is basically the future, for real. In my opinion, they are the ones that are coming up right after your age bracket and right under me. And we're in the beginning of the greatest wealth transfer in history. So the money doesn't disappear. And the older money is starting to die off. So the money has to go somewhere. So why not you be the one to get your share of that wealth transfer?
Right.
Now, this generation is living with inflation, high rents, so many, high costs for their education, all of this loans and stuff like that. So they really need to prioritize and get an understanding of how to budget and how to prioritize the wants and the needs so that they're not out here living paycheck to paycheck and running themselves into debt.
I'm trying to think where I would live, right? Because I asked everybody, but I was thinking about it. And it's so funny that I wouldn't live in one place, right? I would live somewhere that's a tax haven, right? And you think about different states like Nevada, you think of different states like Texas, and Delaware has its advantages too, even Florida. But then you think also, where do you really want to live? A lot of people will say they want to live in Hawaii. A lot of people will say they want to live in Dubai. And listen, y'all seen me the other day where I had the turban on. I'm like, yo, we trying to get that Dubai money. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the world is so beautiful, right? And I was telling you, I was working my 9 to 5, and a lot of y'all was actually here with me when I had wrote in my resignation letter, and I was saying, yo, I'm about to just go doing this trading and this YouTube and this all of this full time. And then, you know, I had got out the game, and since I've been out of the classroom teaching game, for those of you that don't know me, I taught school for about 7 years, public school. I'm still a certified teacher, to be honest with you. Right now, I'm gonna maintain it. Why not? I earned it. And when I got out of that, I started doing things that was off peak times, right? So I would go to the gym, and I'm in the gym, and it's, you know, 11 a.m. on a Monday, and there's people in the gym. You know, I would go to get something to eat. Let's say it's 1 p.m. on a Tuesday, and I'm like, there's people in here, right? And I'm thinking, while I was spending all of my time slaving away, working my 9 to 5, there was other people out living their lives. Like I went to Waikiki Beach maybe 2 years ago. This is in Hawaii, and I'm on the beach, and it's beautiful. And I'm just thinking, and every time I'm always taking it back to like how people's experiences are different. And I'm like, there are people right now sitting on the beach, and had I not done this, I would have been not on the beach. I would have been at work. I would have been working my 9 to 5. And it's not to like take away from a 9 to 5, because we got to use that as our branch to get where we want to get. But there are people right now living the exact life that you want. However, you got to make sure that you are one of those people that is living the life that you want, and it won't happen overnight. It's going to happen gradually. It's going to happen from, you got to think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to build a castle, and you're not just going to be able to, you ain't going to just have a castle all of a sudden. You got to learn how to build a castle. You got to put the right people in the right positions. You got to build it brick by brick, stone by stone. There are going to be people who try to attack your castle. You got to say, okay, so I need a moat around my castle. I need some people protecting my castle. I need all of these different kind of things. And you got to build it up. But again, it won't happen overnight. And it won't happen if you are afraid to lay down that first brick. And one of the first bricks that you got to lay is paying down that debt. One of the next bricks that you got to pay into is actually your investment account. You got to open up your Fidelity accounts, your Robinhood accounts, your Moo Moo accounts, your Webull accounts. You got to actually open these things up and start your Charles Schwab's accounts. You got to do this because, again, nobody is going to make it happen for you. It's kind of like getting in shape. Nobody's going to do a push-up for you. If they doing all the push-ups, it ain't going to work for you. You got to get out and do it. Nobody's going to eat better for you. You got to make sure that you are the one that's putting this stuff into place so that you could really live the life that you want to live. Because I'm telling you right now, everybody in the chat, think of one place that you've been on vacation, whether it be a cruise, whether it be a beach, whether it be an island, whether it be your in-laws' house down south, wherever you went, there's somebody there right now in that exact place. And you're going to go wherever you don't want to be, whether it be a 9 to 5 or whatever. And there's going to be people there at that very moment on that cruise ship, on that beach, on that, all of that thing. And the reason I tell you this is not to have you say, man, I really hate this job. It's to say that if you don't want to be there forever, take the steps to make it so you are not there forever. And part of doing that is building out your foundation. And my foundation, like I always tell y'all, is VTI and VOO, which is the stock market. It's ETFs, right? Just think of it like a basket of stocks. We're not going to get into the nitty gritty. We don't even got to overthink it. The S&P 500 overall stock market as well. So we invest into these things, and then we don't got to be great at picking stocks. We don't got to be great at evaluating PE ratios and price to sales. We don't got to be great at that if we just look at the overall market and then invest in that. And I'm going to leave it on this. I was walking, and if my mother is watching this, happy Mother's Day, happy Mom's Day, happy all of that, right? I was walking with her, and we were walking in the park, and she was telling me, like, is it too late for her to start to invest? And then I told her, absolutely not. And then she was telling me, because she watches my videos very often, and she had said, if she would have started investing earlier, what would it have become? And then I told her, I was like, if you would have invested $5 a day from the time that you were 20, and she told me that she started working when she was about 16, but by the time you were 20, she would have $400,000 today. And then, somebody might say, yeah, but you wasn't a millionaire. And I'm thinking to myself, like, but you would have had $400,000 that you don't have now. So let's always keep things in perspective and never let somebody else's idea of success dictate what our success can be. Prez, Lisa, take it away.
Well, what you were just saying
I totally agree. Go ahead, Lisa.
What you were just saying there, that's how I feel about, definitely I feel that we need to take care of ourselves first and prioritize, especially our retirement savings. But when it comes to our kids, like you're saying, even a small amount, how many of us had, an investment account, even if the investment account only amounts to $5,000, a few $1,000s. I wasn't given that when I was 18 or 21 or 16. I was starting at zero. A lot of us, I'm sure, were starting at zero and had to get a loan to go to college or to go on to whatever trade school or whatever we were trying to do in order to advance ourselves after high school. So we're out here, we're buying the sneakers and the games and all of our kids probably have a cell phone. Let's prioritize a little bit of money into investing on their behalf, because over time, over 15 years, 10 years, you just have to give it a chance to grow. So I know Prez is going to be setting up an account for his 8-year-old soon. So
to add to that, I want to say to everybody that's watching, don't let these outside distractions stop you from investing and learning how to invest. I hear a lot of people say, well, it's too hard, it's complicated, I'll do it when I do this. You have every excuse, but yet you're worried about what this celebrity is doing and that celebrity is doing, this rap beef and that rap beef. They already got that bag. I want you to get yours and not be distracted by entertainment.
I totally agree with that. I totally and utterly agree with that, because again, it's like this, right? I was talking, if you know Larry Jones, put a coffee cup in the chat. I was talking about my guy, Larry Jones, right? And this is last year, we went to Invest Fest, and we were sitting there and we're talking, right? And it's Kenan Grace, it's Larry Jones, it's a lot of other people who are influencers in the building, and people are seeing us and they like so happy. Oh man, Kenan, Larry, what's going on, right? And we were sitting here like, man, there's so much money out here for all of us to make, but people are oftentimes distracted with things that will not enrich them, but it will only enrich others. So, for example, if you want to have a conversation with Kenan Grace about what's going on with Drake, what's going on with Kendrick Lamar, I got an opinion on that, but I don't want to talk to you about it if you don't got your situation at least stable. If you don't have your savings account at least in a high yield savings account, transfer from that 0.001% over to something that's giving you at least 4%, then I don't want to talk to you about this yet. I got a strong opinion. I feel like I already know who won it, but I'm not going to share it because I want to talk to people about it who I feel like are doing what they're supposed to be doing. I want your priorities to be lined up. I think I would be dead wrong to be talking to somebody about things that aren't going to help them when I know that their situation could be better. You having trouble paying your rent. You having trouble because you buried down in debt, but you want to break down to me what this bar and that rap line and this means. And me and Larry, we was having this conversation about something else, right? Something completely different. Because at that time, a year ago, it was something else going on. And we like, yo, we don't necessarily want to talk to somebody about this thing when they are struggling and they ain't even open up an investment account yet. They're not pouring into their own future. They pouring into somebody else's future. You understand what I'm saying? And you might be thinking, who future am I pouring into? I'll tell you right now, if you got AT&T or Verizon or any of that, you got an iPhone, if you got an Android phone, if you got a desktop computer of any sort, and you don't have any investments in none of these giant tech companies, then guess what? You pouring into them and you pouring into me because I own them, but you're not pouring into you. You understand what I'm saying? You're not pouring into yourself because you are living on the consumer side. There's an old saying about living on the other side of the tracks. Back in the day, it used to be the rich side of the tracks and the poor side of the tracks. I want to break it down even further. There's the investor side of the tracks, and then there's the consumer side of the tracks. And often, many of us is living on that consumer side of the tracks when, you know what, sometimes it's okay to consume, but you also got to be a person who's willing to invest. And I remember the first time when I bought a lot of Apple stock, a whole lot of it. And I had looked like a few months later and it was up like $1,500. And I'm looking like, whoa, the Apple stock has put enough money in my pocket to go and buy an iPhone. So the Apple was basically buying me an iPhone. So then I'm thinking, whoa, this is nuts. And since then, I've been investing for a long time. I made enough money on Tesla to buy a Tesla. You understand what I'm saying? So I say this to say, oh, wait, I'm consuming. Am I the one consuming, or am I using their investments or my investments in them to consume for me? So this is what I really want you to think about. What side of the tracks are you always living on? You understand what I'm saying? How much money has Clorox bleach made off of you? How much money has whatever it is, Ben and Jerry's ice cream made off of you? How much money have all of these things made off of you? Target, how much money have they made off of you? Walmart. Meanwhile, when you look at their revenue, they bringing in $100 billion. So you like, yo, damn, I don't even get a piece of that at all. Family, it's time to get your piece of the pie. It's time to get on the investor side of the tracks. And it starts by really believing in yourself and believing that you could do it, because the tools that we have today, there's no excuse to not start.
100%. And when you say the
I
tools
totally
we have today, go ahead, Press.
I just wanted to add, if you don't believe in yourself, then who is going to believe in you? You can't expect anyone else to believe in you if you don't believe in yourself first. That's all I wanted to add to that one.
Yeah, we all jokingly say, if only we were old enough or were able to, or our parents or grandparents were able to go buy some Apple stock back in the 80s, that they knew how to go and figure that out. But it's not like that today. Today, any of us, for ourselves, for our children, I have Fidelity, whether it's my IRA or my taxable accounts, they are all right here at my fingertips on my phone. So there is no reason. And when Kenan first started, when we just kicked off the hour, he said buying fractional shares. That is another thing that has really opened up investing for so many people. And when all three of us, we literally will invest $5, $10. We did this. We went through these stages and have joined challenges and have built up our shares into different companies. Just because you don't have $200, or never mind something like NVIDIA, nearly $900, there's nothing that has to hold you back, and you don't have to wait until you have a huge lump sum to get started. You could deposit $100 onto an app and slowly invest that $100. You don't have to jump in and invest all of that in one day. You can spread that out, and that could cover you for your first, say, few weeks. But
I literally started my channel showing everybody how to invest $5 a day. And if you were with me back in January, I deposited $25. And if you look at it now, it's almost at $500. So it's really no excuse on to why you say you can't afford to invest, because I've been showing you week after week, just investing $5 a day. And I even show you how to properly allocate your portfolio so that you won't be over leveraged and hype stocks and companies you have no idea about and things of that nature. All you have to do is take a look at what I'm showing you week by week.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And everybody in the chat, I got a question for you. Whether you are ghost watching and not commenting, I got to request that you give us a comment. And the comment is this: pick one or the other, or pick both. Would you describe yourself more as a trader? That means you getting in and out in a short amount of time, like under a month. Or would you describe yourself more as an investor? Are you a trader? Are you an investor? Or are you both? And the reason, and go ahead, write that in the chat. Everybody, even if you ghost watching and you haven't commented yet, I want to see who is in the crowd with us. So we know, because again, we doing a live stream and it's a conversation between the three of us, but this is also a conversation that you are a major part of, because again, I want to see who we talking to in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of people saying both. Personally, I would consider myself both, but I want you to do this. If you are a trader, you got to take trading so seriously, more seriously than you are already taking it, right? And you may think to yourself that you're taking it really seriously. I read a book recently, and in that book, they were talking about how, and let me actually see, let me go to my Audible, and I'll pull it up because this is an audio book I'm listening to while I'm in the gym. And in this book, the author is basically talking about my library real quick. This one is called, just to give you a reference. Let me see. Give me 1 second. I gotta open it up. How to Day Trade for a Living by Andrew Aziz. Now, in this book, How to Day Trade for a Living, he's talking about how you got to take trading as seriously as a scuba diver takes his oxygen tank. And I know that that sounds extreme, right? Because think about the risk level of a scuba diver who is not paying attention to their oxygen level. You will literally drown. You will literally not make it. You will be wiped out. You will be done, and no one can save you because it's too late. You got to take your trading that seriously. I've seen people who, I'm sitting here and I'm trying to trade into a stock. I bring up a stock to you the other day. And if you know Stocks with Josh, put a heart in the chat for my guy, because this is a Stocks with Josh story. I'm talking to Josh, and Josh is telling me, and this is like maybe 2 weeks ago or so, we were at the NASDAQ. I seen Prez there, I seen Lisa there in Times Square. And Josh was like, man, I'm talking to some people and they're telling me that they are still in certain companies that was just a trade. For my people who don't understand trading versus investing, trading is quick. I mean, you get in, you get up, and you get out. But some people aren't focused on their trades as if they are a scuba diver looking at their oxygen tank. They're not focusing on it hard enough. So next thing you know, they are forced into being an investor. That's called holding the bag. You were supposed to get in at $5, get out at $8. And now that this thing dropped under $5 and it's $2, oh yeah, I'm just holding. I hope it come back. You're going to be hoping until infinity because it's probably going to go to 20 cents. You're supposed to get in, get up, and get out. And me and Josh are having this conversation. And then I said, Josh, you know what? That's where you're going to be right back here crying to me. And I'm not having that. I say that because so many people, they think that they're trading appropriately, but they're not paying close enough attention to it. So if you can't pay attention to it because you have a 9 to 5 and you can't look at the charts on a certain thing, you don't know how to set a stop loss, then at this current point, you got to be an investor. I'm talking about into things that are worth investing into. I'm talking about things like VOO, VTI. If you want to get into tech stocks, stay away from the ones you never heard of. If you heard of Microsoft and you look around everywhere and all of the companies around you are using Microsoft computers, okay, maybe that makes sense. If everybody in your house, all of your neighbors got Apple stock or Apple company products like an iPhone, you on a laptop right now, that's an Apple MacBook or whatever, maybe that makes sense. If you heard of this new company, go light white, don't go invest in that. Don't invest in that. You're going to go white light. You might want to trade that. You might want to go and look at the charts on that. You don't know how to read the charts. So it's time to push go white light stock to the side and go put in some time to learn how to invest and then learn how to trade. That's how we're going to do it. So I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat are actually telling us that they are both. Some people are saying that they are just traders. My people who are just traders, if you answer that, what is a technical indicator on a chart that you think people should look into? My people who are investors, what stock or ETF is your largest holding? So that's a question for everybody. And let those answers roll in so we can see who we dealing with here. But Prez, Lisa, let's get it.
It's Apple for me.
Apple's your largest holding?
Yeah, I've been working to bring up my VTI and VOO, but I got a little carried away over the last few years investing into Apple before I was open and got into my ETF, my S&P 500. That's in my taxable accounts. So.
Has Apple let you down?
Apple has not let me down. Amazon, Google, there's several things in my portfolio that never grow red because I've been investing into them and no, they have not disappointed.
My largest holding
is
currently VTI. VTI. And then VOO was next. And then after that is Amazon.
It's VTI for me.
VOO
I run a tight ship in my portfolio.
Yeah. Oh, listen. Some Prez will be like, it's not my day to buy Amazon, or it's not my day. Like I'm not as rigid, and I'm not as able to keep my portfolio balanced the way that Prez is. But Prez
I do it like that because
20% is staying the 20%.
I do it like that because I've had an over leveraged portfolio when the hype stocks like ChargePoint and things of that nature. And it doesn't feel good when you get into a bear market and you're looking at your portfolio, you're down 30, 40%. Your portfolio should never be down 30, 40% at no time whatsoever.
That's a good point. And my people who said, because I see some technical indicators coming in too, I'm seeing people got VOO, Apple, Amazon, Google in that order, VOO and VTI. So I see we got some well-balanced people in the chat. My other people who are in the chat who said the indicator, I see people talking about a volume indicator, right? This is for my people who are looking at the charts more, right? You want to know if buying is coming in, if selling is going out. You want to see those things when you are trading. That's very important. One thing that I want everybody to look into right now is, and you can do it after the stream, but an indicator is called the RSI, the relative strength index. It's something that if you want to look at the charts and you can't tell what the momentum is doing, then it's very important. And I'll say, put it in 5 minutes, Google it, and look at the Google images and you'll see it. That's something that I want you to focus on as well. It's nice and simple, right? It's in a tight range. It's something that you can learn easily, and you can learn it in 5 minutes or less on your own. So go look at that. So my biggest position is VTI, and I would say go and look at the RSI indicator. And there are more, but you got to start somewhere, right? We all start somewhere. Everybody who you even think is a pro or great at this and born natural with gifts, we all had to start somewhere. We wasn't born right out the womb and saying, Mom, one day on Mother's Day, I'm gonna be on YouTube telling people that I was just born this good. No. That's not what we're doing. Now, let's talk about something else that I want to ask everybody in the chat, because we just did a little victory lap, right? What indicators we like? Oh yeah, we like the RSI, we like volume, we like the MACD. What is your biggest holding? VTI, VOO, Amazon, Apple, whatever. Let's keep it real. What stock did you lose the most money on? Or crypto? What stock or crypto did you lose the most money on? You might have even made it back over time. But if you knew what you knew now, it probably wouldn't have happened. So let us know, which stock or crypto did you lose the most money on at all? And for me personally, it was a SPY call option. I did a call option on SPY, and I wasn't listening to none of my rules, not a single rule, right? Not one. One of the rules being don't over leverage, right? One of the rules being don't hold it overnight. I wasn't listening to none of these rules. I was just like, yeah, whatever, right? This should just work out. I got into a call option. And for those of you who don't understand options, this is a contract, right? I got into a call option and I was down 22K in not a lot of time on a call option. I listened to zero rules. Since then, I probably made more than $100,000 on SPY call options since then. But not listening to my rules cooked me. So I'm seeing a lot of people in here saying XLM and NVIDIA call, AMC and Shiba Inu, Fisker. Now, you notice what most people are saying. None of these things are, very rarely, Bitcoin, Apple, right? It's very rare because these things are good investments that even when they go wrong, you just hold on to it and then it comes back. But with an option and you're not listening to any system or rules, you're going to lose. With a hype stock, a short squeeze stock, a hype crypto, oftentimes it's literally going to be exactly like that. So, and I want to give a shout out to everybody who is keeping it so real, right? Keeping it so real in the chat, because there's so many people who are going to learn from the information that we are providing them, including yourself. And that's why I keep asking you these questions, because I want people who are just watching the chat, they might be a little shy, that they can see that even if you did lose $3,000, my dog just said, on an AMD call or an AMD play or whatever, how you've learned from that, right? You've learned from that. And let's keep it real. $3,000 is a good amount of money, but it's not going to necessarily change your living situation right now. You understand what I'm saying? So you're going to be able to make that back 10 times over just from the information that you now have. However, that 10 times over, it might not happen in one day. It might happen over time, but I believe in you. Everybody in the chat, I straight up believe in you. I want to request one thing too. Could you hit the like button? We got over 100 likes, but there's 182 people watching. So let's see if we could get it over 120.
I see a few people in the chat shared the one I was going to say, which for me is ChargePoint. So yeah, accidentally diamond handed that one, but that's not going to happen anymore because I have grown and I have learned and I use my stop loss and I have a plan from the start and, different money mindset. How about you, Press?
It was AMC call options for me.
AMC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's flip it too. What is the thing that you made the most money on? I had made in one single play. I think it might have been a Tesla call. It was either the Tesla call or it was another SPY call. But the most money I made on in one single play, this one was, I want to say it was the Tesla. I had made $90,000 on a Tesla call one time. 90 in one call. And one of them, it was a SPY one too, and I had made like 50. I've since started trading with lower amounts because I was doing that, right? So it's like this. This is the thing about the stock market or even crypto. When you win big, you could put yourself into a mind state of always going big, and then you will end up losing big. So it'd be like this. I had made 90 on a Tesla call, and then I had lost 22 on a SPY call. I'm like, oh, how am I losing so big? One of the rules too was I was over leveraging myself in options that move so fast. So then I was like, oh, if I win, I'm gonna win huge. But if I lose, I also win huge. I would lose huge. No. It's time to tone it way down. And then you get consistent. I'm talking about really consistent wins. So one thing that I want to tell everybody is this. The stock market is open about 251 days. Some years 252 out of the year, excluding all holidays, excluding all weekends, right? So let's say we get 250 days flat. If you make $25 a day for every single one of those days, on average, you're going to make over $6,000. I know that don't sound like a crazy amount, but look at the raise that you are likely to get going into 2025. It's probably not $6,000. So if you could make $25 a day on the market, then you could beat the raise and then still get whatever raise you was going to get. Let's double that to $50 a day. If you could make $50 and then just get out of your trade and go to the gym, go to your job, go walk or whatever, you will make $12,000 in those 255 days. I know if you're working a 9 to 5, you ain't getting a $12,000 boost in pay in 1 year. That's very unlikely. Now, if you could get it to $75 a day, family, you almost at 20. And let's just go there, right? $100 a day on average. My people who have traded crypto, my people who have traded options or even stocks, you know, if you made $100 in a day, you might not impress nobody with that. But if you made $100 on average every day for 250 days, some days you lose, some days you win, but you look at your average, it's $100 a day, you will make $25,000 a day. Think about the difference in lifestyle going from making $25,000 a year to making $50,000 a year. Think about the difference in lifestyle from making $50,000 a year to making $75,000 a year. And lastly, think about the difference in lifestyle from making $75,000 a year to making $100,000 a year. So if you made $100 a day, then you have just gave yourself a $25,000 boost in gross income. So we got to really think and break these things down so that we can say, yo, I seen somebody make $1,000 a day in an option. I seen somebody make $3,000 a day in an option. But if I could stick to this $100 a day that I'm making in my options or my crypto or whatever trading, I'm going to be good because I'm going to make $25,000 more than I would have otherwise. And then when we look at what I'm doing, making $100 a day, and at the end of the year, I'm up 25K, and we look at what they did, they won 10, they lost 10. They won 8, they lost 8. They all over the place with no real net progress, but you having a sustainable plan are killing it and knocking it out of the park.
Also, I'd like to add to that, it's okay to not trade. Some days the market just not going to give it to you. Don't force it. And don't try to impress anybody with your winnings and things like that. Be happy with a $5 profit. A profit is profit. I'm happy with $5, $10, $15. It's time to get up and walk away from the charts. It's time to get up and walk away. And if the charts is not showing me a clear direction, I won't trade. You hear me say it in my live streams all the time. The market's not giving me what I'm looking for today. I'm going to take my ball and go home. Don't rush it. It's a sprint. I mean, it's a marathon, not a sprint at the end of the day.
I'm totally with that. Totally with that. In closing, Lisa, Prez, anything you want to say or ask me?
No.
No, good.
You
everybody in the chat, what I want you to do is, at a minimum, if you forgot everything that we said in this live stream, if you forgot everything that you learned about stocks or investing, it just fell out of your head, believe in yourself. Believe that you will be a future millionaire if you are not one already. Believe that you will have your first $100,000 if you haven't had it already. Believe that you will have your first day when you trade and you make $100 to start you on your journey. Believe it, because if you don't believe it, then you already made it not happen. You got to speak life into yourself and speak wealth and health into your future. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Prez, Lisa, thanks for having me on. Take care.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in. All right, guys. Thank you so much to Kenan for being here. Prez, we got through this. We had our special guest. Can you close us out for today? And guys, I just want you to know investing is for all of us. The motivation that we're trying to give you is real. And even if it's with a small amount, don't let this opportunity pass you by.
Right. And don't let distractions, these outside distractions as far as the entertainment world and these rap beefs, stop you from taking the time to learn how to invest. You can take and watch a 10-minute video, one of my videos, one of Lisa's videos, and you're learning something right then and there. And if that's all the time you have is to watch one video per day, then you're already making a step in the right direction. And in closing, I just want to say, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die.